I'm Scott Margolin, Vice President of Technical here at Tyndale, and your host for Season 2 of Arc Week. If you didn't see Season 1 and you're wondering what Arc Week is all about, it's a unique look at a common hazard, arc flash, through the educational lens of something like Shark Week. So, you also might be wondering, what did diving with sharks and working with electricity have to do with one another? It may seem like the answer is not very much, but they really have quite a lot in common. There's a clear potential hazard, and that hazard can be dramatically reduced by the right training, behavioral safety, hazard analysis, situational awareness, and PPE. Other episodes this season will focus on these hazard reduction methods, but this episode will focus on that last one, PPE. Do I need PPE, personal protective equipment? When do I need it? What PPE do I need? How do I match the PPE to the hazard? These are all relevant and important questions. Now, you might think that all electrical work and all shark diving require PPE, but if you're familiar with the hierarchy of control, you know that PPE is the last line of defense in industrial safety. And shark diving is similar, if less formal. Hazard analysis comes first. With shark diving, of course, we need gear to see and to breathe, and potentially to protect our skin from other hazards like water temperature, jellyfish, and the sun. We consider the species we expect to encounter, their size, numbers, the location and depth of the dive, the time of day, the water clarity, presence of other factors like prey species, or hazards like current. If we determine that it's a low voltage environment based on this analysis, we can go with a Cat 1 approach, a mask to see, breathing apparatus, and in most cases, a dive skin or a rash guard. And that's because a shark's skin is actually composed of tens of thousands of tiny teeth called dermal denticles. These denticles are angled sharply back, so that if you pet a shark from head to tail, it'll feel smooth. But if you stroke it from tail to head, plan on losing some skin. So even when diving with smaller, more docile sharks, you may be brushed or bumped, and so a base layer of protection is always wise. So that's our Category 1 shark approach. What's a Cat 1 arc flash approach look like? Well, we recognize that there's an arc flash hazard in the work we're about to do, and as a result, we're going to get the appropriate PPE, which is Category 1 arc-rated shirt and pants or coveralls, as well as the peripheral PPE like insulating rubber gloves, leather keepers, hard hat, face shield, chin cup, and safety glasses. The Cat 1 approach would involve arc-rated shirts and pants or coveralls, which have a 4-calorie rating and would be used in cases where the incident energy of the arc expected is less than 4 calories. This Cat 1 approach will do 2 very important things for you. 1, the clothing will not ignite and continue to burn, and that's the life-saving difference. And 2, that clothing will insulate you to the hazard that you expect so that you will not receive 2nd or 3rd degree burn through it. When hazard analysis tells us we need to move up a notch due to the temperature, the dive duration, the depth, or shark activity, we go to wetsuits, including gloves, and sometimes the short shark billies to gently guide a shark away who might come too close, and that's sort of a daily wear Cat 2 approach in shark diving. Arcs are like sharks in Category 2 as well. We've identified a larger hazard, and we've increased the PPE accordingly. On the arc flash side of the ledger, of course, that involves arc-rated shirts and pants or coveralls that are rated at over 8 calories, Category 2. They, of course, won't ignite and continue to burn like at Cat 1, but they're able to insulate to a higher arc energy and therefore protect you from 2nd and 3rd degree burn through your garments at that energy level. If the dive profile shows a higher risk, as it typically would if we're doing a feeding, where we intentionally draw large sharks close enough to hand feed, then we move to a sort of a Cat 3 approach and upgrade our PPE to include chainmail gloves, sleeves, or full body suits, and sometimes hockey helmets. And we'll add a safety diver to cover the feeder's blind spots. With arc flash, we can be precise with hazard analysis, even quantifying it down to the decimal point with incident energy calculations. We can also measure the protection of the PPE, and then when you combine the two, the incident energy and the protection afforded by the PPE, you can ensure that your protection meets or exceeds the hazard, dramatically reducing injury and saving lives. The vast majority of shark dives can be done safely with this approach. But there's one situation that calls for even more protection, a Cat 4 approach, if you will. And as you may have guessed by now, almost all great white shark diving is done with a cage, like the one I'm in right here. White sharks average 12 to 16 feet in length, weigh thousands of pounds, and have a very large mouth full of very sharp, serrated, triangular teeth. So when something the size and weight of an SUV with a mouth full of knives comes at you at 30 plus miles an hour, chainmail just isn't enough. We need to up our PPE game. We need a cage. And boy, am I glad I had one right there. And again here at Seal Island in False Bay, South Africa. The The arc hazard equivalent of this is either layering up above 8 calories to meet an increasing hazard or going directly to arc flash suits. And we'll do a deeper dive into both of those strategies in our upcoming episodes, one of which will feature a special guest. And speaking of special guests, throughout the week we're going to be joined by a number of industry experts who will share their expertise with us. And at the end of the week, all of them will join us for a shark dive. They're going to intentionally get off of a perfectly seaworthy boat and into the water with large sharks. Thanks for joining us, and welcome to Season 2 of Arc Week.